You know, in the Bible, I believe that the um, fundamental nature of reality is described in um, metaphorical terms. It's not mathematical in nature, but um, what quantum physics seems to be proposing, and um, just from the basics that I've learned and looked into, um, I just find some of this really interesting. Um, that that these parallels are there throughout the Bible, and related to the mystery of God. The book of the revelation of the mystery of God is key to understanding the nature of God. Obviously, if we want to understand how the Word works and how it expressed creation and reality, um, we would have to look at um, what the Bible says, and we'd have to look at what quantum physics seems to show and point to fully understand the nature of the universe, the invisible God, Father, Word, and Spirit, the source of all creation. So the Father is the conception, the source of what is manifested. Um, you have to have a source um, that pushes out the Big Bang, pushes out the natural order of the created universe from within a um, higher dimensional reality or a multiverse, or whatever that would um, fully entail. That would be getting closer to the source, to the Father, to Elohim, the Creator, which is all in all. Elohim simply, I believe, means the all in all, the all plural, um, the singular plurality, the God, the source of, in other words, all immanent reality, all conceived reality, all things that can be conceived. We would have to call that Elohim, the all in all. Um, to be the all in all, you would have to arrive at the most fundamental nature, the most fundamental source, the most intangible, the most distant thing, the most innermost thing, the the highest and farthest extreme of all possibilities, of all potentials, would be Elohim. That's where we would have to go um, on a conscious level. Um, I couldn't call Elohim a object. I couldn't call Elohim a flashlight, even though there are aspects of it that emulate um, the nature of God in creation. The nature of all creation emulates God in some way or another, in some form or another, because that's just obvious within all things multiplying, replicating, and moving. So here we see the quantum physics, the four fundamental forces: the strong nuclear force, electromagnetic, gravitational, and weak nuclear force. Those um, are present within the universe. Those expanded out, um, at the after the point of the Big Bang, and I don't fully understand all of this stuff, but I'm trying to connect it, trying to connect the dots. These forces operate and work in um, creating what's perceived as physical space-time, physical reality. They hold together the atoms and cells and molecules. So you have the four forces and these the leptons and quarks, which are the particles that are um, the providing the motion, the energy, the motion of the universe. So, and then in Ezekiel, we find the chariot of the Lord. Now, a storm came, and a cloud with a strong wind, and there was fire flashing from it, light shining all around it, like glowing fire. So he's describing this massive energetic, pulsing cloud of energy, and four living creatures. Notice the four creatures that animate the throne. So you're looking at what we could be describing as the four forces, creating the substance of physical space-time. Again, gravitational, electromagnetic, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. The four fundamental forces: the lion, the eagle, the ox, and the lamb. That would take you to the surface of fourth dimensional reality, space and time. That would be the genuine explanation of God, of the mystery of God, of how God created how God created the universe. This is in Ezekiel chapter 1. Each living being had four faces, and in the front of each they had a man's face, a lion to the right, a bull, and an eagle. The wings were spread out over them. So again, you have six wings, which are carriers, which carry the throne of God, and you have the four fundamental faces of the animals. So again, you have, if you look at the picture here, you have, look, the carriers, 6, 6, 6. And in 11-dimensional string theory, I think they have, I believe, you have the carrier particles and anti-carrier, so you have 24, which is 6, 6, 6, and 6, which do all of the motions of the four forces. So again, right there you have this pulsing energetic field being described, which is the substance of all space and time. I mean, you really can't get around that. God is the creator of, as it says, the heavens and the earth. So everything in space and time would be defined by that throne being described in Ezekiel, which, as well as in the Higgs, this description of the Higgs field, the strong, electromagnetic, gravitational, and weak. The holding together the nucleus, the atom, the gravity, the physical space and time reality of where gravity holds objects in their places in the universe, and light itself. And these are all energetic. These are all pulsing energy. In Ezekiel, it says that they were moving as fast as lightning. So these forces are whirling and spinning and whirling. What he's seeing is a metaphor. What he's seeing is God speaking to him through language that man can understand, man can relate to. But they're moving as fast as light, as it's describing, as fast as lightning. So it's whirling around it's this pulsing energetic cloud that he's seeing. He's seeing what sounds like the surface of the veil being pulled back on physical reality into the inner depths of the surface of the throne of God. But he doesn't see the full picture. So you go to Revelations, you finally see the full picture of the Revelation the throne room, where you get the Lamb seated on the throne, and you can see some pictures of that as well. And if you notice, you have the same original throne of Ezekiel, but you also get the you get the four fundamental forces. You still have the lion, the ox, the eagle, and the lamb, surrounding the throne, the pulsing energetic field and cloud, the throne of God. So that would be your physical space-time reality. All the heavenly and celestial hosts who fully understand this and conceive of this are observing this reality in the heavens. So, however we would take that to mean, this reality is fully understood. everywhere you go in the universe. Essentially, it's the same fundamental reality. God's presence, God's throne is the same. If you were to go to any other universe, galaxy, dimension, you're dealing with the same subtle essential nature. The four fundamental forces. And then behind the four fundamental forces, you have the seven lampstands. You have the seven lampstands. The seven horns and seven eyes of the Lamb then are inserted as the final revelation. So you're dealing with the fourth dimensional reality. You then have the seven horns and seven eyes inserted onto the throne as Jesus revealing the nature of God to us, bringing us into the deeper revelation. So you have four dimensions, space and time, the dimensions of the four dimensions of physical space and time reality. But how does God, for example, alter time? How can God do prophecy? If everything is just set in stone in space and time, nothing can actually change. You would need higher dimensions. You would need, and within the 11-dimensional string theory, you actually have 7 additional dimensions. So you're looking at 4 dimensions, space and time, the established space and time, that the structure, the current space and time that seems to keep on just going in the same fashion. The question would be, how does God change? How can God alter what's established? How can God possibly flow and travel through time? If this is space and time going in this direction, you have to have something. You have God that can go around it, prophesy, change time, change space. You need those 7 additional. You need those additional dimensions. So to me, that sounds like the 11 dimensions of string theory. You have, and I don't. Again, I don't know everything. I don't know all the details of all of this stuff, but I know what sounds rational to me would be the 4th dimensional reality, but we know God is completely subtle beyond all rational physical reality, physical space and time. So God would, indeed be higher dimensional. It talks about prophecy a lot, meaning the ability for God to migrate through time and also change time as well. So God is sort of unlocking the even the structure of space and time. God is able to go beyond even space and time, where Jesus, the Lamb with 7 horns and 7 eyes, then draws us back into the true essential nature. Jesus takes you to the wellspring of life. He takes you back to the purest and truest source, the crystal clear wellspring, which is this fundamental higher dimensional reality. That would be, in theory, the 11th dimensional reality of the string theory, which posits, I think, essentially the idea of a multiverse. And if this is the nature of the subtle reality within the space-time universe, this is actually the subtle reality of all things. So the space and time isn't even really existing as it seems to for God. God makes up the structure of what we perceive as space and time, but also there's a underlying, higher dimensional aspect which would be able to sort of like move through space and time in any way really in any way God chose, and because God defines the nature of the vibrations, the relationships are all being defined by this field. If you this is difficult to fully try to explain what I'm seeing, what I'm trying to explain, but um, yeah, the best sense I could make of it was when I, thinking about this string theory and how the additional dimensions resting on top of, or really around the four dimensional reality of space and time, which would be your throne of Ezekiel and the throne of the Lamb. The throne of Ezekiel, the initial glory, revelation of the glory of God, the surface of space and time. And again, remember, this is the inner depths, so it's not like it's inside of it and penetrates to the outside. So this would be, I think, possibly fully explained in the biblical account as the revelation of God, the mystery of the seven seals, the mystery of the scroll, the mystery of creation. In Revelations chapter 10, it finally reveals the full mystery is fully understood and revealed, and people begin to understand it and rationalize it and be able to explain it. I believe that's where we're heading. I believe that people are going to be able to fully understand the nature of quantum physics and string theory and all of these types of things. I think that's going to become more common knowledge, and and spiritual things will start to make sense more in that light than beyond just the physical universe.